Okay, so welcome to Unit 5.1. This is Agriculture and Rural Land Use Patterns and Processes, or the introduction to that. Today, we're going to explore how food production shapes our world. From massive farms to backyard gardens, agriculture plays a crucial role in human survival and economic development. So, let's dig in. Intensive agriculture is all about maximizing production using advanced techniques, and farmers invest in fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation systems, and high tech machinery to get the most yield per acre. This method is common in places where the land is expensive and the goal is high productivity. Imagine a farmer is using top tier resources, similar to how an elite athlete would train with the best equipment to maximize their performance. So, an overview of agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of human civilization, allowing societies to settle and grow. And there's two main types. We have subsistence farming, and this produces just enough food for personal family consumption. And this is common in rural parts of the world where farmers rely on diverse crops and livestock to sustain their lives or themselves. Commercial farming is large scale production of crops and livestock for sale. So these farms use advanced technology and often influenced by market demand. So, for example, in Florida, there's a large scale orange grove and cattle ranches that are prime examples of commercial farming. So, types of agriculture. Farming isn't a one size fits all kind of thing. There's different methods that exist based on the land, the labor, and the climate of the type of agriculture needed. They have intensive farming, and this requires significant labor and resources for high output, such as rice paddies in Asia or hydroponic lettuce farms in urban areas. Extensive farming uses large amounts of land with fewer inputs, such as cattle ranching in Texas or wheat farming in the Great Plains. Think of it as a marathon rather than a sprint, spread out nice and steady. All right, so climate and agriculture. Why don't we grow bananas in Alaska? Well, because of the climate dictates agricultural success. Crops thrive in environments that are suited for their needs. In South Florida, we have tropical climate, which is ideal for citrus, while the Mediterranean is perfect for olives and grapes. Farmers have to consider the temperature, rainfall, and soil conditions when they're deciding what to grow in a certain area. So the climate conditions, their different climates support different agriculture activities. So, for example, in tropical climates, you have hot and rainy. So it's great for bananas, coffee, and sugarcane. Mediterranean climates are hot, dry, and mild, dry summers and mild winters, and this is ideal for grapes, olives, and citrus. Arid climates, where they have very little rainfall, are better for livestock grazing, like sheep herding in Australia. All right, so here is a map and it shows you the different types of farming in different areas and what that looks like in all over the world. It also has at the top, if you're looking at the key, the types of climate that each region has. All right, and here's another map of subsistence agriculture and commercial agriculture, and it's also color coded. It tells you what kind of agriculture is grown in what part of the world. All right, so tropical climates. Tropical regions experience high temperatures and consistent rainfall, making them the perfect rainforest and crops like cacao, pineapples, and rubber. However, the soil in these regions often have very poor nutrients, and it requires methods of shifting cultivation to maintain productivity. Shifting cultivation means that the agricultural practice involves farmers clearing the section of land, farming it for a few years, then moving it to another area once the soil nutrients are depleted. And this is common in the Amazon and parts of Africa. While it helps to maintain the soil health, deforestation is a major downside to this. Okay, so mid latitude climates. So between the tropics and the polar regions, mid latitude climates experience four seasons. They're areas of excellent for growing wheat, corn, and barley. In the U.S., the Midwest is a key agricultural zone, and it produces much of the country's grain. So the Mediterranean climate. And the climate here is found in southern Europe, California, and parts of Australia. It supports crops that thrive in dry summers and wet winters, such as grapes, olives, and wheat. If you ever wonder why so much wine comes from France and Italy, this is why. All right, so arid climates. So regions with very little rainfall rely on alternative agricultural methods. Livestock grazing, such as sheep or camels, is very common in the desert and semi arid areas. Farmers have to use irrigation systems and drought resistant crops in order to succeed in the harsh environments. All right, so intensive farming practices, intensive agriculture includes market gardening. And this is small scale farms growing fresh fruit for local markets. Plantation agriculture, and this is a large farm focusing on cash crops like coffee, cotton, or sugar. And then you have mixed crop and livestock systems. And these are farms that grow crops and raise animals together to optimize efficiency. All right, so to dive into market gardening or commercial gardening. This is a common in urban areas. Market gardening produces high value crops like lettuce, tomatoes, and strawberries. These farms rely on manual labor and often are organic. Florida's winter vegetable production is a prime example. So they supply fresh produce to the US when northern states are too cold for farming. Right, and our prized Florida oranges. Florida produces the majority of the U.S.'s orange juice. The state's subtropical climate allows for year-round citrus farming. However, challenges like citrus greening disease threaten production and forces farmers to adapt by using hybrid crops and pest control measures, which aren't always the best for consumption. Right, so plantations are large scale farms in tropical regions that focus on one or two major crops, such as sugarcane, tea, or rubber. Historically, these farms relied on forced labor, and today they still depend on cheap labor. Many plantations are owned by multinational corporations based in wealthier nations. So, some examples of key plantation crops are bananas in Central America, coffee in Brazil and Colombia, and palm oil in Indonesia and Malaysia. And that one's usually widely used in processed foods, but it's linked to deforestation on that last one. All right, so the history of plantation agriculture. Plantations played a major role in colonial economies. In the American South, enslaved labor was used to cultivate cotton and tobacco. In the Belgian Congo, forced labor was exploited for rubber production, and these systems had lasting economic and social impacts. All right, so coffee production. From bean to cup, coffee goes through multiple stages. The first one would be seeds that are planted and grown in coffee cherries. Cherries are harvested and processed. The beans are dried, roasted, and packaged for sale. Brazil and Colombia lead the global coffee production with the driven by consumers worldwide. All right, so modern plantations. Today, plantations are highly mechanized and often owned by multinational corporations. They provide jobs and they also contribute to environmental concerns like deforestation and soil degradation. Many plantation workers still face poor wages and working conditions today. All right, so that is it for today. So to recap, agriculture is more than just food. It's a complex system that's shaped by climate, economy, and history. And as consumers, our choices impact farmers worldwide. So next time you drink coffee or eat a banana, consider the journey it took to get to you. Next class, we'll go ahead and cover the second half of 5.1. This one was kind of a long one, so I broke it up into two sections. And I will post both of them for you guys to take notes on. And if you have any questions, write them down in the margins, and I will get back to them when I see you guys again in class. Don't forget to do your reflection questions, your lesson reviews, and your bell ringers. I will see you guys in class.